Welcome back to the Live for Life podcast. I'm here with Big G. Big G, how are we this evening?
I'm fine, but it was a big decision on deciding what to wear today because I had to meet a very important person in the office, and therefore I decided to dress up a little bit. So I'm wearing a shirt with a collar for the first time on the podcast. So I think a lot of people might think we're going formal and we're going to discuss something very, very serious. And the topic is very serious. But you're wearing a new brown Ralph Lauren top.
Yes, I had an amazing trip down to Ralph Lauren in South Kensington, which you'll know well, as you've been multiple times, haven't you?
This is the one with the coffee shop in it now.
Yes, absolutely. And I didn't even need to try anything on. I said I need a couple of Live for Life jerseys, and they knew exactly what was needed. So a navy one was purchased and a brown one. We also have maroon. We have royal blue. And
they're only, what,
great.
250 quid each, right?
No, you get them for free because Live for Life podcast.
Of course, yeah.
And obviously discount if you're jacked.
Of course.
Yeah, because you need the material shape.
That one's slightly baggy. Have you got an extra large?
Good chat, buddy. So G-Dog's firing shots there. But anyway, so we had a bit of a battle about Big G at the start because you were a little bit concerned about something, the angle of the camera.
Yeah, well, I had a memory of our session at the London School of Economics where there was a problem with my shirt, which caused a ballooning in my abdomen. And you decided it wasn't a ballooning in my abdomen because of the shirt. It was a ballooning in my abdomen because I'm fat.
Do you know in a previous episode where Donna put the photo here? I think we should do that again, shouldn't we, Donna? But, G-Dog, how are we? Good weekend?
Yes, very good weekend. Thank you very much. A lot of weight training and a lot of NEAT, actually. I noticed that I did 14,000 steps on Sunday.
Wow.
So quite impressive.
That's quite big for you. Fantastic work. Well, my weekend was great, thanks.
But your weekend was particularly good because I'm not sure if it was neat, but you were jumping very high into a river.
It was more of a stream.
Was it a waterfall?
Actually. Well, and then that was called rock pools. But I would always think rock pools were the ones right down by the sea, but also they can be higher up.
It had a silly name.
Yeah, bloody pools or something.
Yeah.
No, it was incredible. And proper cold water therapy. You would have hated it.
No, I think I now love it.
That's chat. After your performance at Babbers, we know that's a lie.
But the Babbers was good because it wasn't as cold as I thought it was going to be. So I guess it's defeated the object.
Yeah, exactly. But trust me, this was, even I will admit, Baltic.
Really?
But took it on. Great fun. Just jump in. Get the full cold water therapy.
You didn't look like you thought it was Baltic.
Well, yeah, because you've got to train the mind to say it's warm, basically. That's the whole point.
And you're there with your trainer and friend.
Yeah.
Daniel.
I mean, it was fantastic. We had an absolute beano. We took down Belfast, saw a Concord, and 2 nights there, and they were kind of clapping me onto the plane. Just thank you so much, Angus. It was almost like a G-Dog experience these days. Like, everyone's like, wow, you're Angus from the Live for Life. And also, anyone listening to this who I met in Belfast, I was giving out the podcast left, right, and centre. Because obviously we went to all these spots and people were like, oh my goodness. And I was hot topic of
Did
Belfast.
you have sunglasses on?
No, just the specs. But I did have to wear a cap on one of the nights.
Did you meet U2?
Did I meet?
U2. Because I met Snoop Dogg. I thought maybe you're in Ireland, you might meet U2.
No, I didn't. But
I think they maybe, are they south? No, they're north. They're definitely north, yeah, because Bloody Sunday is about the Northern Ireland thing. So U2 is definitely Northern Ireland.
Yeah. Well, they may well be listeners of the Live for Life podcast now. So U2, good to see you. Thank you.
And they probably decided there was just not enough space in Belfast for you and U2 together.
Exactly. So fantastic weekend and ready to crack on with this podcast now, aren't we, G-Dog? And the topic we're discussing is why toning isn't a thing, even though for many people they think it is. And G-Dog will obviously go into a lot of science. We've just spent 20 minutes highlighting stuff. So I'm really excited, but I'm just making it clear. You cannot tone a muscle. You can either build it or lose it. Right, G-Dog?
Yes. And despite us agreeing on that, in the run-up to the podcast, we actually had a bit of an argument.
We had a real argument, and I thought I was going to walk out of the room because G-Dog. What I've realised with podcast topics is I can't give G-Dog just the title because he somehow finds other ways to attack it, which I don't necessarily agree with. But I've let you deep dive, dog. You take us away.
Well, the headline, first of all, is I found a study that did a study of 23 years of scientific research to try and find out if toning exists. And the study, which is in the Journal of Physical Education and Sport, volume 23/9. And that said, the authors searched scientific databases and found no formal definition of muscle toning. So maybe prior to this 23-year period it existed, but basically it doesn't exist. And muscle toning lacks biological or physiological foundation. It's a quite definitive statement. And they said professionals should stop using the term toning and instead use phrases like hypertrophy, natural adaptation, or body composition. Do you agree?
I do completely agree with you. So we haven't fallen out yet. I think one of the things that fascinates me the most about the toning topic is most people who say they want to look toned have never tried a progressive overload weight training, have they, G-Dog? And if you are looking for a said physique goal, if you're a woman listening to this, that will come from progressive resistance weight training at the forefront of your training. If you want to complement that with the likes of Pilates, that is progressive, sure, that's another angle. But if you want the best results possible for you physically, that is going to come from weight training. And I know there is that worry around obviously getting bulky, which is something that is always seems to put women off weight training. But if you wanted to get seriously bulky, you'd have to be in a significant calorie surplus, which realistically you're not going to be. And obviously your testosterone levels are so low compared to ours. And look at me and G-Dog, we've been trying to get absolutely massive for years. And we're massive, but we could be more massive, couldn't we, G-Dog?
Well, it's my pecs, right?
Yeah. So
I want bigger pecs. And even though I try really, really, really hard, I don't get them bigger.
How's pec popping going? Good?
No, this shirt is too baggy. I can't do it in this shirt. No. You can even do it through your off-road baggy shirt.
Exactly, a bit baggy, apparently.
Can't, yeah. But how would you define what, given that body toning doesn't exist, what do you think people think it is?
Well, I think they think it's effectively just losing body fat and then getting a look that they would consider toned in their head. So whatever someone's opinion of toned is going to be different to the next person. But people don't take into account things like genetics, which is a huge factor as we talk about. And 9 times out of 10, the body you want is not going to happen. Well, actually, 10 times out of 10, it's not going to happen because you don't have those genetics.
I looked at lots of different bits of fitness marketing to try and see what they thought toning meant. And let's see what you think about that. They said that all of the marketing is the same sort of thing. To get toned, you need to lift light weights. You need to do lots and lots of repetitions. And as a result of this, you can improve your arms, legs, and abs. So is that true?
Well, they're lying because it's accessible and it's easy to sell. That's why the fitness industry is in the place that it is, because a lot of people in the industry just want quick buck and they don't think about a long-term model. And that's why so many coaches do it as well. They'll put people on extreme diets, they'll get extreme results, and then they'll just bounce back up. But I've seen some staggering classes, I don't know if you've seen, that have come into play. And I feel like there is this angle of people that almost gets to the point we talk about when they give up and they just decide to do the furthest thing possible away from what they actually need to do, that is exercise. So I've noticed places do trampolining classes, which apparently is very effective for toning, which is an interesting one. You'd be very good at trampolining classes, wouldn't you, G-Dog?
I think I might fall down between the cracks.
Yeah. But I have noticed this trend where there seems to be how far away can we get away from progressive overload to get sweaty and get toned? And because almost it's such a niche form of exercise, people are getting slightly better results than they were because their body is kind of terrified almost by the method.
I mean, the studies that I read just reinforced everything that we talk about and I know already, but it's just interesting the phrasing they used. Muscles can only grow, that's hypertrophy, or shrink, and that's atrophy. So obviously, as you get older, you atrophy your muscles, unless you do progressive overload weight training to get them to grow back again. And the physiological process called toning is basically, if you were to try and define it, it is hypertrophy combined with a calorie deficit. So you're growing your muscles and shrinking your body fat. If you do lots and lots of repetitions of the same exercise with low weights, definitely you're not going to get hypertrophy, because you can only get hypertrophy by progressively overloading and increasing the weights and increasing the weights heavier and heavier. And also, definitely, you're not going to lose body fat, because you only lose body fat by reducing your calorie consumption. If you do huge amounts of exercise, you're going to burn maybe 300-400 calories and then get totally exhausted and stop and then be very hungry and eat more. So the idea that you can do huge amounts of exercise involving rapid movements and low weights to get toned, by definition, is a fallacy.
I think where a lot of people go wrong as well is they try and target specific parts of the body. And that's definitely, I'm sure you'll have seen in your deep dog dive, the research around that, where they'll go, oh, do you want to get things like, I think I've heard hip dips is one that...
What's a hip dip?
I don't actually know, but I saw hip dips.
Sounds like you're dipping and rising your hips.
And obviously, when people are in the corner of the gym and you can see them following this workout video and they're doing these crazy core exercises and their lower back hurts because they want to get abs, that is just not how you get abs. Why are people still falling for it, Dom?
I think people want the easy way out. And if you're doing low weights for high reps, then you think that's an easy way out. But at the same time, it's quite exhausting because you end up sweating quite a lot and not having any results at the end of it.
But it's
so it
just so unenjoyable, isn't it?
If I go to the gym and I lift progressively heavier weights, then I'm not running out of breath and getting exhausted. And yet I am actually increasing my muscle mass, which is increasing my energy consumption, which is naturally reduced calorie. I mean, it's just obvious that I'm going to start shredding by having higher muscle mass. The other thing I was looking at is a lot of adverts focus on toning creams.
Interesting.
Have you ever heard of toning creams?
I haven't heard of toning creams.
Yeah. So if you've got excess body fat around your stomach, for example, if you rub this toning cream in it a lot, then the body fat will somehow disintegrate. And so I had a deep dog dive into this toning cream that caused fat disintegration. And needless to say, it's physiologically impossible. However, I then said, okay, I know it's physiologically impossible, but people who use them, how can they possibly think that maybe it works? And the conclusion was, if you don't understand physiology and you don't understand weight training and you don't understand calorie expenditure, but you just look at a lot of TV adverts about toning cream, this is how you might think it works. And apparently, it temporarily does improve your skin texture. So, and also it can improve your hydration, and that makes your skin look slightly less sort of loose and flabby and makes it look smoother. So you think you're starting to get toned because you're basically just unbelievably moisturized. But in actual fact, you're just like hydrating yourself a bit more.
Have you tried and tested this on your pecs?
Yeah. So I covered my pecs in toning cream. I just stood in front of the mirror and just rubbed and rubbed and rubbed. And they started to glisten. And I thought, actually, this toning cream might be a thing.
And then half an hour later.
Yeah, that was the problem. Every half hour, you have to reapply this toning cream. So it's problematic.
Is there any other studies you've got there that are going to excite the listeners?
So the other thing is that you can get, some of these creams are caffeine-based or peptide-based, and they can actually cause minor skin tightening because these peptide and caffeine-based, I mean, obviously caffeine by definition is going to dehydrate you. So it causes dehydration of the skin and also causes some inflammation as well. We all know inflammation's bad, but if you want to get toned, maybe you should be inflamed. So, and the inflammation makes you feel, from a purely superficial and fleeting moment, that you've become toned. So I was in I won't tell the location, but I was in a shop recently, and there was a group of people who were not skinny, and they were buying creams to try and become skinny. And they were very, very excited about it. And I was face slapping as I was seeing them. But I discovered it's actually quite a common thing that if you don't want to go to the gym, you don't want to do a run, you don't want to go and exercise, and you want to carry on eating lots and lots of cakes, then you try to lose weight by just rubbing cream on yourself.
Clearly, from a marketing perspective, it works though, doesn't it? So the people selling these creams are making a killing.
Yeah. So the other thing that these people do as well is they think they can do it via massage. So, I mean, by definition, the word lymphatic drainage sounds like you're draining yourself of all of your fat. So therefore, if you just lymphatically drain yourself, which I think it's quite, you've had a lymphatic draining massage before, haven't you?
I have.
What did it involve?
A lot of kind of on your stomach and all that
Was it
stuff.
pushing hard or just light?
Oh, it was relatively hard.
Right. So anyway, but I read that it's quite light. So maybe yours is a strange type of it.
Mine was very focused on the helping with my digestion, which did definitely help. In the sense of, I was basically like, I wasn't planning on doing a lymphatic massage, but I said, I've got a bit of a bad stomach, and I had gone in for a deep tissue. She was like, well, do you want me to help that? And effectively...
Sounds like it makes you fart.
No, it didn't. It just helped. Effectively, she was pushing like down here and helping everything flow through.
Wow. But anyway, so people go for this lymphatic draining
lymphatic, but...
or massage, and they think that this could reduce the swelling. And actually, it does reduce swelling. So it does temporarily make you feel toned because you've been through this phase. But by definition, massage does not remove the fat cells. And therefore, it's very difficult to do that. And also, massage doesn't increase your muscle tone. I think some people you see people lying motionless with these electrodes tied to their muscles going on, off. And they think that's going to give them bigger muscles because they're like sort of pads you attach to your quads, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. You can do quads. Obviously, Ronaldo advertised them, didn't he? And
Is that the reason that Ronaldo's jacked? Because these pads?
Well, so there was a stage where he had obviously those pads, and he's obviously absolutely ripped. And I gather he got paid tens of millions of dollars to advertise these vibrating pads. And he did this body weight leg and ab workout, no upper body, twice per day was what he said he was doing for the marketing side of things. And he was clearly paying a significant amount of money because then there was lots of footage of him lifting weights in the gym. So it didn't quite make sense.
No. So obviously, this rabbit hole was getting quite problematic because I was like, there must be something about toning because everybody talks about it. So I've tried massage and that's not toning. It doesn't work. I've tried lymphatic draining and that doesn't work. I've tried creams and that doesn't work. And basically everything possible to try and get this toning thing without actually doing any exercise. And there was just nothing was working. So
but how did you get down a rabbit hole like this?
So I thought, okay, so I put into Google, what happens if I want to carry on eating lots of food, I don't want to do any exercise, but I want to get toned. And the conclusion said, many people live full, happy lives at a higher weight level. And therefore, you don't need to think about getting toned. You can just remain as you are and not be too concerned about it. However, if you do want to try and get more toned without putting any of the work in and still eat all of the cakes, then what you can do is try to manage your stress, try to prioritize your sleep, focus on nourishment, not restriction. So eat cakes with protein and maybe chicken cake. Focus on hydration that will improve digestion, skin, and energy. So drink lots of water. If you try Diet Coke instead of full-fat Coke, maybe. You're still having the Coke. And also focus on pursuing more NEAT, as we discussed in the other exercise. So walk a lot. So if you want to carry on eating lots of cake and you want to carry on having your massages and having your creams and having your lymphatic drainage, but you don't want to do any exercise, you don't want hypertrophy, and you don't want to change your calorie consumption, then that is the solution.
And obviously, body positivity was very much a thing until Ozempic came along.
Exactly.
So yeah.
So then I said, okay, give me some example of people who followed this process, and there's quite a few. So Winston Churchill, Queen Victoria, Orson Welles, Alfred Hitchcock, and Marlon Brando all followed this. None of them wanted to do any exercise. All of them wanted to carry on eating cake and drinking alcohol, and so all of them, interestingly, did massage.
And they were really successful and in great shape, weren't they?
Well, the interesting thing was Winston Churchill drank, ate cake, never did any exercise, and lived to 90. Queen Victoria became very, very overweight later in life and lived to 81. Orson Welles, unfortunately, he died at 70. Alfred Hitchcock lived to 80, despite being very, very fat. And Marlon Brando, he was also very fat as well, and he lived to 80. So you can actually live up to 80 plus and still be obese and have like lots of cakes and drink lots of alcohol. But all of them, what they did is they enjoyed massages. Marlon Brando was famous for going for spa treatments, and some of them also used toning creams. I mean, Queen Victoria didn't have toning creams, but she had various ointments used to rub on herself. So it is possible.
So maybe the angle they should be going for is actually longevity rather than toning.
Yeah, I guess so.
Longevity cream.
Longevity cream, that's it, yeah.
We've worked out the whole toning market. I don't know how you managed to get down such a rabbit hole there, but guys, I hope you enjoyed that rabbit hole of G-Dogs. When I sent him the podcast topic ideas as I did, I basically wanted to make it clear that you cannot tone a muscle. You either build it or lose it. G-Dog took that very, very seriously and somehow got us down this rabbit hole of toning creams and other things. But is there anything else you'd like to add, G-Dog?
No, I've finished. I've gone through all my notes now. But I just thought it was interesting that actually these people did actually live quite long, fulfilled lives despite having these issues. And yeah, maybe toning creams are helping them psychologically.
Exactly. But to summarize that nicely, and I'll say it again, if you want to get the best physical results possible, a progressive overload weight training routine that's tailored to you and your goals is exactly what's going to get you there, isn't it, G-Dog?
Yeah.
And maybe a bit of toning cream for the pecs. On that note, guys, thank you so much for listening to that episode of the Live for Life podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.